she was on Johnny Carson's show one time. She came there with a cat on her lap, and she said to you, "Do you want to pet my puppy?" You said, "I'd love to if you'd remove that damn cat."
Johnny Carson hosted The Tonight Show for 30 years and interviewed countless celebrities. But some nights produced moments so perfectly timed that Johnny and the audience couldn't keep it together. These are the 15 funniest moments in Johnny Carson history. Don Rickles breaks Carson's cigarette box.
Rickles! Rickles, hold! Stop the taping! Somebody broke my cigarette box.
When Rickles took over the show while Johnny was on vacation, he made his famous cigarette box the butt of a joke by constantly slamming it on the desk. Then it actually broke. The next night, Carson found out and stormed over nearby on set where Rickles was taping another show, confronting him mid-scene.
Stupid, you're not gonna have to land. It's no good. Carson's cigarette box.
Oh, I broke his box. I broke Carson's cigarette box.
What the hell happened to this? You know how long I've had the cigarette box?
It happened last night.
Who?
Don Rickles.
I did not see the
Don
show
Rickles
last
did it last night. He's taping across the hall. CPO Shark.
Can I get over there? I don't give a damn if they're on the air. Rickles! Rickles, hold! Stop the taping. Somebody broke my cigarette box. I just started the show. I picked my box up off my desk that I've had for 9 years. They told me you broke it on the show last night.
Well, I really...
It became one of those legendary Tonight Show moments where real life and TV blurred together. Jane Fonda asks about the Zsa Zsa Gabor joke. Fonda's infamous Tonight Show appearance started as a normal interview. She brought up Zsa Zsa Gabor in a way that put Johnny on high alert. As soon as the phrasing pointed toward a crude punchline, Carson's posture changed into full network television defense mode.
You know, you were talking about Zsa Zsa Gabor earlier.
Yeah, everybody's talking about it.
My son said, you know, she was on Johnny Carson's show one time. She came there with a cat on her lap, and she said to you, "Do you want to pet my puppy?" You said, "I'd love to if you'd remove that damn cat." Is it true?
No, I think I would recall that.
You could see Johnny calculating in real time. How do I acknowledge this without actually saying it? It was hilarious because everyone knew what the joke was, but Carson had to pretend he couldn't say it on television. Rodney Dangerfield makes Carson fall out of his chair.
I mean, people can drive you nuts, Johnny, you know?
Yeah.
The other night I went into a place, I asked the bartender for a double. He brought out some guy who looked like me.
Dangerfield came on in 1978 with that nervous, hunched energy he always used to perfection. He launched into one-liners so fast, the room barely had time to breathe between laughs.
And my wife, she's no better than the rest of them. I told her when I die, I want to be cremated. She's planning a barbecue.
One joke after another without stopping. Rodney hit a punchline so perfectly timed and unexpectedly, Carson fell out of his chair, laughing, losing his balance completely.
And I don't want to drink because I'm a bad drinker, I'll tell you that, Johnny. When I drink the next day, I got to do two things. I got to try and locate my car, and I got to bring back the car I took. I mean, I'm a bad drinker. Remember that one? Yeah, sure.
Of course I do.
Of course you do. I knew a lot in my bed. I don't know. Bring on the next guy. I don't know what to do.
The audience went absolutely insane. It's one of those moments that proves how funny he was at his peak performing ability. Don Rickles roasting Johnny and Ed McMahon.
I wish you luck, John.
Thank you, Don.
I think it's time you moved on.
I think so.
Hey, I'm not saying that facetiously.
I'm not retiring.
You know,
I'm just stepping down as the host of this show.
You're finished.
There are other things
It's
I want to get about.
Stop trying to be graceful. They asked you to get out and you're walking away.
By 1991, Rickles didn't arrive as a guest so much as an event. Carson and Ed settle in like they're bracing for impact because Rickles always treats the desk like a boxing ring. He starts with quick jabs at Johnny's age, and the show, and the suit.
Don,
Are you the governor of Guam?
aren't you getting a little older?
I know your age. The prom's over.
All right.
I mean,
It's summer. It's summer.
I know, but you're dressing like some Chinese yo-yo or something. How you feeling, Ed?
Very good, Don.
Keep your name alive. Great.
Thank you.
You got heavy stuff going, but you're a good guy, and you know I love you, Ed.
Thank you, Don.
I'll testify to anything. Of course, I heard the news. You're the new host.
I'm so glad.
Why? I was backstage. Everybody's packing.
The segment becomes a rhythm of Rickles firing insults, and Carson reacting, and the audience watching two people who clearly trust each other push it right up to the edge. The beauty of it is watching three professionals who've done this dance for decades. They know exactly how far they can go. Johnny Carson's funny signs on New Year's Eve.
So one of our problems is what could we do to keep their attention tonight? Because there's a lot going on. Right now, people are saying, what?
What? But can't hear it.
So we made some little signs that we thought we would hold up as attention grabbers during the show.
Right.
Well, would you like to see some of
Sure,
these?
I'd like to see one of
Well,
them.
you have to, because this is the material spot.
Yeah.
This is just for people at home. We don't really have to say anything, do we?
That's a good one.
It was a holiday broadcast, and The Tonight Show leaned into the idea that people at home might be distracted or partying. Carson set up a simple visual gag. He'd hold up signs to get attention. The bit started politely, like a playful reminder. Then the signs got more blunt and desperate as it went on. Because it was New Year's Eve, the audience was already in a looser mood. Are you still watching? Please don't change the channel. Your mother called and wants you to watch.
Bob, you got to get a whole shot of this. You hold the card. Okay, now you can show it. Ready? And the damn prop doesn't work. What? All the way in. Right.
Each sign got progressively funnier because of how direct it was. Carson's deadpan delivery made it work. He wasn't overselling it, just holding up signs like a man slowly losing his dignity on national television. Carson's monologue bombs. Carson's monologues usually moved like clockwork. Joke setup, punchline, move to the next joke, and repeat that every night. But every so often, he'd spit out a joke that apparently sounded better in his head when the writers pitched it, and the studio would go noticeably quiet.
You've been reading about the Bon Watcher Raji Jinjing or something? Man's got 90 Rolls Royces, and people keep giving him cars. Nice cult. Did you say something?
No, the correct name is Rajneesh.
Rajneesh.
Yes.
The Bhagwan.
Rajneesh.
That's the last name, Rajneesh.
Yes. Well, that's okay. Rajneesh Bhagwan or Bhagwan Rajneesh.
Bhagwan this.
That awkward silence where you can hear someone cough or shift in their seat. Instead of rushing past it and pretending it didn't happen, he'd pause and acknowledge the dead air directly, almost treating the silence like an extra performer on the stage. Sometimes he'd follow it with a little physical reset or a quick tag aimed at himself or the writers, and the audience would immediately relax and laugh at the acknowledgement. The segment became less about the original failed joke and more about watching him steer the room back into rhythm and comfort. Doc Severson's Thanksgiving plans. It's Thanksgiving week in 1979, and Doc Severson is sitting in for Ed McMahon, so the desk already feels slightly off balance in a fun way. They start casually comparing holiday plans, and Doc leans in with a simple question about whether Johnny actually helps Mrs. Carson prepare the turkey. Johnny fires back with a smug little reversal, saying it's just like Doc helping Mrs. Severson prepare the turkey, thinking he's landed the perfect man-to-man jab. Doc doesn't miss a beat and calmly reminds him there is no Mrs. Severson, turning Johnny's punchline into an instant self-own that detonates the studio. From there, it becomes a runaway improv duel about stuffing, divorce, and writing checks, with Carson laughing so hard he reaches under the desk for tissues, while Doc keeps landing clean tags like he's been waiting years for this exact opening. Joan Embry and the Laughing Bird. Joan Embery came on to do what she always did, bring an animal out and guide Carson through a quick, friendly, educational segment. Then the bird made a laugh sound that was weirdly human. It caught everyone off guard. She tried to continue explaining, but the bird kept punctuating the moment at exactly the wrong times, like a tiny comedian interrupting the interview. Every time they'd try to move on, the bird would laugh again. Carson started cracking up. The audience was losing it. It became one of those moments where something completely unplanned turns into comedy gold. Don Rickles pranks Frank Sinatra. Sinatra's presence changes the entire temperature of the studio. He's not just a guest, he's an institution, and everyone in that room treats him accordingly with respect and reverence. There's this nervous energy in the air. Rickles steps into that space with the one thing he's famous for across his entire career: refusing to act intimidated by anyone, no matter who they are or how powerful they might be. The exchange starts like playful admiration, and then Rickles begins poking Sinatra with insults that would sound absolutely wild wild coming from almost anyone else on television, calling him old, making jokes about his hair and his singing and everything else, treating him like just another guy in the room. Sinatra's reactions are the key to making it work without turning dangerous, measured and amused and occasionally stern-looking, so the audience is constantly reading his face to see how far the leash goes and whether Rickles is about to cross a line that shouldn't be crossed. Carson sits in the middle like a referee at a boxing match, enjoying the tension but keeping it from tipping into real hostility that would ruin everything. The moment lasts because it feels like watching two powerful personalities negotiate control on camera. You could feel the danger building, like maybe Rickles would go too far, but he never does. Buddy Hackett's divorce joke. Hackett comes on with the reputation of being a little too wild for polite television, so the audience is already anticipating a near disaster before he even starts talking. He starts with divorce material that's personal and exaggerated, the kind of stuff that makes Carson lean back and monitor the line between funny and inappropriate for network television. Then he moves into the bath story, and you can feel him testing how much he can imply without getting stopped by the censors or the network. Carson's job becomes gently steering the conversation, letting Hackett be Hackett, but keeping it from turning into something NBC would regret airing. The laughs build because Hackett's storytelling is physical and shameless, and the audience senses he's flirting with too much the entire time he's talking. It's one of those Carson segments where the tension of what might be said becomes part of the entertainment itself. You're watching Carson calculate in real time whether to let it continue or cut to commercial early. Hackett's pushing boundaries but doing it with such charm that it's hard to get genuinely offended by what he's saying. Jonathan Winters glued his cat to the floor. Winters 99% of the time arrived in that chaotic energy. The story begins like a normal household mishap, something small and stupid that happens when you're trying to fix or clean something around the house. Then he starts acting it out with full commitment and energy, voices and panic, and sudden changes in tone and physical movements that bring every character to life until it feels less like an anecdote and more like a live sketch happening right there on Carson's couch in front of millions. Carson doesn't try to control it or steer him back to normal interview mode. He lets Winters run wild because the chaos is the entire point of having him on. The audience gets pulled in because Winters keeps heightening the same incident into bigger and bigger reactions. The cat's meowing, his panic at realizing what happened, his wife's reaction when she found out. Every detail gets its own voice and physicality. By the end, it feels like you've watched a man turn a dumb accident into a full theatrical event without needing any props besides his own body and voice. Carson was laughing so hard he could barely stay in his chair. It's one of those segments that shows why Winters was considered a genius. Phrases you'll never hear. Carson sets it up like a simple list bit from 1989, the kind of clean, structured comedy the show could drop into any night without much setup.
Example, here's the first one. That's Mr. Rogers to you, and stay the hell out of my neighborhood.
He reads each line with the same calm authority he'd use for a real announcement, which makes the absurdity land harder. The phrases start in familiar territory, like something you might actually hear in normal life, then take a sharp turn into complete nonsense. Ed's reactions help punctuate it, because he laughs like the audience's representative while Carson stays straight-faced throughout the entire bit. The segment moves fast, one phrase after another, so it never stalls and never needs extra explanation or analysis. It's the kind of late-night comedy that feels timeless because it's built on timing and delivery more than topical references that would date it. Simple premise executed perfectly with Carson's deadpan, making every ridiculous phrase funnier than it should be. The audience eats it up because it's exactly the kind of comfortable, smart comedy they tuned in for every night. Carson doing what he does best. Louis Anderson's stand-up. Louis was a new face to a lot of the audience with that soft-spoken, slightly nervous everyman vibe that immediately makes him relatable and likable. He starts building material from his own life, family and insecurity and everyday discomfort and things everyone can relate to. So the crowd gets to know him as a real person while they're laughing at his jokes. The pacing is slower than a one-liner comic, but it's deliberate and purposeful, like he's walking you into the punchlines instead of throwing them at you rapid fire. As the set goes on, the room shifts from "Who is this new guy?" to "We trust this guy and want to see more," and the laughs get bigger and more genuine with each joke. Carson's attention is locked in because it's the classic Tonight Show discovery pattern he's seen 1,000 times. A comedian proving they belong in that spot on national television. The moment works because it feels like a person establishing a persona and not just delivering jokes mechanically. You can see Carson nodding along because he knows he's watching someone who's going to have a real career after this appearance. The audience audience is fully with him by the end of the set. Emanuel Lewis's first appearance. Emanuel Lewis walks out, and the crowd reaction is immediate because he's small and young-looking, already like a recognizable TV presence from his sitcom, Webster. Carson greets him like any other guest, but the fun is watching Emanuel handle the format with surprising confidence for such a young kid. The conversation becomes a series of quick exchanges where Emanuel answers without hesitation and doesn't get overwhelmed by the spotlight or the cameras or being on national television. Carson plays along like he's mildly challenged by how comfortable the kid is, which keeps the energy light and playful throughout. The audience loves it because it doesn't feel like a staged, cute kid segment where the adult has to carry everything. It feels like a guest who can genuinely keep up with Carson's rhythm and timing. The segment stays memorable because the timing is real and the chemistry looks effortless and natural. Carson's barely doing anything except reacting to this confident kid who's not intimidated at all by being on national television in front of millions of viewers. It's charming without being cloying or overdone. Emanuel just treats it like a normal conversation. Drew Carey's stand-up. Carey was unfamiliar to most during this time. Carrying that regular guy presence that doesn't scream showbiz or Hollywood polish, he starts with grounded material, the kind of observations that feel like they came from a normal life rather than a professional writer's room. The set builds steadily and methodically. Each laugh makes him more comfortable, and you can feel the room deciding in real time that he's the real deal and worth watching. Carson is watching closely because the show has always treated first-time stand-up spots like an audition in front of America. When the crowd is fully with him, it becomes that classic Tonight Show trajectory where the comedian earns the bigger moment at the end. The segment feels like you're watching a career door open in real time rather than just a strong 5 minutes of comedy. Carson gives him that nod at the end, the one that says, "Come back soon." You can see it in his face. He knows this guy is going to make it big. These moments are what made The Tonight Show special, not just the celebrity plugs, but the unpredictable laughs that couldn't be scripted. If you want part 2 with even more classic Carson chaos, drop your favorite moment below and check out other videos on screen.